Today I'm sharing 3 ways to market your business that are perfect for an introverted business owner. Plus, I'm going to share a bonus tip so that you don't have to feel like you're always having to push to make sales, which can also feel very uncomfortable if you are more introverted and more sensitive. I'm Catherine Watkin of Selling from the Heart, and I teach heart-centered business owners how to enroll more clients and grow their businesses without resorting to manipulative sales and marketing techniques. Lots of my clients tell me that they just don't feel comfortable doing a lot of the marketing that they're told they should do, especially if they're on the more introverted or sensitive end of that scale. I'm also an introvert myself. I'm actually one of the most introverted people that I know. But I've run this business for 13 years, and for 7 of those I've been fully online. Every year, consistently, I've done 6 figures in revenue and sometimes multi-6. So despite my introverted nature, I'm reaching enough ideal clients with my marketing. And as an introvert, there are a lot of aspects of marketing that just don't feel good to me. Yes, I could push, I could force myself, but to be honest, I don't want to build a business around doing things I don't enjoy and that I have to force myself to do every day. And I'm sure that you don't either. I do feel I was lucky because I figured out pretty early on in my business which marketing approaches work for me. And by work, I don't just mean get results. I mean things that get results and also feel either relatively comfortable or even things that I thoroughly enjoy doing that don't even feel like work. So I'm going to share the top 3 ways that I market my business, including the reasons why they work so well for someone who is more introverted. So the first of these is speaking. Now, your immediate response, if you're an introvert and you don't speak as part of your business, might be, oh my gosh, how could you possibly be suggesting that? I feel absolutely terrified at being at the center of attention at the front of the room. And I used to feel the same too. But here's what I discovered after a long period of going networking for my business and then starting to get invited to give talks. I soon discovered, to my surprise, that I was more comfortable speaking at the front of the room than I was networking. And there are really good reasons for this. When you're speaking, you don't have to work the room, you don't have to make small talk. Instead, you're in your expertise, you're talking about the thing you know best and maybe answering questions. Again, you're staying in your zone of expertise. You also don't have to work really hard to try and convince people how great you are or try and get the message across about what it is you do, because you've already been positioned as an authority to the whole room. And whoever's hosting you will have introduced you with your clear bio and bigged you up. So it really reduces the amount of bigging yourself up that you have to do, which is always more comfortable. I personally am always more comfortable at the front of the room teaching my expert topic than I am in the middle of the room struggling to make small talk to sort of get across what I do. And another benefit of speaking, and this is a great one, you have not had to do all the marketing that it took to fill that room with people. Instead, you've got a new audience, but all you had to do was either pitch yourself to one person, the event host, or maybe you didn't have to pitch yourself at all, because the more speaking you do, the more speaking opportunities find you. In my first 2 years of business, I used to do a lot of offline speaking. Nowadays, I do a lot more online speaking via Zoom and webinars. But in those first 2 years, I was speaking 1 to 2 times a month, and I didn't actively pitch for any of those. Word spreads. The more you speak, the more people see you speak, the more opportunities come to you. The second thing is partnerships. Now, with partnerships, the wonderful thing is you don't have to broadcast out to the big wide world, which often feels like broadcasting to the void, and it's what introverts are most uncomfortable with. And for more on this and why it feels so uncomfortable, check out my previous video on how to do marketing as an introvert. When you are using partnerships as a marketing approach, what you're doing typically is you're building relationships with one person at a time. which normally are much more comfortable for us as introverts. As you build those relationships, you're getting access to much larger audiences. Now, I'm going to give you a few examples because partnerships can work in so many different ways. So an example from the early days of my business, I went to a 3-day conference. I met somebody at the conference. She really liked the sound of what I was doing. She had a very big community of female business owners. She invited me to do a talk for them. It was actually a webinar that I did online. And in just a few days, through her promoting that webinar, I grew my mailing list by 500 people. So I took that mailing list from about 300 people to 800 people in such a short space of time. Another example, a less public way of doing a partnership, would be Jen, who was a tech expert inside my membership for the first 3.5 years. Now, what Jen did, she was very introverted. She didn't want to go out and be posting on social media or shouting about how fantastic she is. She built a one-to-one relationship with me, and I invited her to come in and be the tech expert inside of my community. What this meant was that I was the one doing all the marketing and I was doing all the selling. And at the highest point, my membership had nearly 500 members. And Jen was positioned as the go-to person for tech help and tech projects to all of my members. And she didn't just do that with me, but she built similar relationships with a number of other businesses and was embedded within their programs. And this was all she needed to become fully booked. And then another example would be a client of mine who built one-to-one relationships consciously with much more outgoing people who were better than she is at building large audiences. And they refer clients to her one-to-one in return for a 10% fee. So it doesn't have to be an online thing. It doesn't have to be webinars. It can just be building partnerships for introductions and referrals. One of the advantages of this is that the opportunities that are generated by partnerships are often more based around you teaching and sharing your expertise and less about you positioning yourself and posturing and broadcasting online. Another way to put this is that someone else is doing the more high volume marketing to reach larger numbers of people, and your own marketing as an introvert is about building a relationship with that person or positioning and putting yourself forward to give a talk. And so you may get invited, for example, to do a guest masterclass for somebody's membership, to do a webinar workshop for somebody's mailing list, or you might be invited to do a guest blog post or a chapter of a book. Whatever that invitation is, you're in teaching mode, you're in serving mode, you're in directly making a difference mode. And for me, this is much more comfortable than broadcasting about myself out into the world, which is why I have never done social media as a means to attracting new clients into my world. The third one is YouTube, but this could be any content platform. It could be a podcast, it could be blogging, and of course you can still share that content on social media. But what I'm talking about here is content platforms where that content sticks around for the long term and can be found over and over again. And again, it works so well because it's teaching. As an introvert, we're more comfortable in our expertise. And I also don't feel so exposed when I'm teaching on YouTube because of the way the YouTube algorithm works. So YouTube is more likely to show my videos to people who fit my ideal client profile, who I know are kind and caring, heart-centered business owners. And when I've done much more public forms of marketing, like Facebook ads, for example, and I'm reaching a much broader spread of people, I've definitely experienced that thing where you might experience some nasty comments, and that can really shake our confidence, especially if you're near the beginning of your business. And when I'm creating content, like today, recording this video, I don't feel like I'm marketing. My mindset is much more in, I'm teaching what I love to do. I'm creating valuable content that I know my audience will find useful, and I'm serving and helping the coaches, therapists, healers, and other service-based businesses that receive my emails and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And this feels really good to me. I'm in teaching and serving mode, and then my ideal client comes across me, and if they like what I do, they can subscribe, or even better, they sign up to my mailing list. And then of course the video can be repurposed. In my case, I turn it into a blog. Somebody else might repurpose it into lots of snippets to use on social media. For simplicity, I just share the video to a couple of social media platforms. And then I continue to add value through my emails and through my YouTube videos. And eventually I launch one of my programs. And by now the know, like, and trust is built and people are more likely to buy. So a bonus tip for you, so that you don't feel like you are selling all the time, leads on really well from that, which is, as an introvert, you're also not likely to feel that comfortable being constantly in hustle mode, trying to get people to buy from you. It can feel grasping, self-serving, and I know that it can actually hold you back from inviting people to work with you because you don't want to come across that way. Now, of course, if you come across somebody who clearly needs your services and is showing a clear interest, definitely book them in for a call to find out more. But for me, rather than spending my time out in the world continually trying to sell, my preference is to speak, deliver guest trainings and masterclasses, do podcast interviews, build partnerships, and create video content. And every time I do one of those things, I invite people to sign up for one of my free giveaways to get them on my mailing list, and then I keep in contact by email. And when I've got something to offer, I can let them know about the offer and invite them to find out more. So in other words, I get people onto my mailing list with my free giveaway, and then I nurture and I keep in touch until they are ready to buy. I hope you found this useful today. If you're yet to find marketing approaches that feel really good for you, you might enjoy my free training, How to Get Clients When Marketing is Making You Miserable, full of new ideas on how to make your marketing more enjoyable. You can sign up at katherinewatkin.com/MM. MM stands for Marketing Miserable. Thank you. Bye-bye.